Today on Meet the Press, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
expose the evils of poverty, murders, terror, bombings, police brutality. Unmerited suffering is redemption. Voting rights, economic boycott, moral confrontation, massive civil disobedience.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, if it's Friday, Dr. Chavis.
Here's Meet the Black Press.
Hey, brother, how are you this morning?
I'm doing fine. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I want to compliment you again on that theme song, man. That was very uplifting, man. I would every day should be Meet the Black Press, but certainly on Friday, we're always pleased to be on Make It Plain with you, my beloved comrade, freedom fighting spokesperson for the world.
Well, brother, that's very generous of you. Well, let me give credit where credit is due. Our producer of that piece, a very talented sister who has been producing all of the music for Make It Plain, Sister Haley Aramando. And you all can check her out at allhailent.com for All Hail Entertainment. Download some of her beats. You know, if she wanted to, she could give D Nice a run for his money on Instagram. So, you know, she just got to decide to do it and find the time. But I'll let her know you said that, and I appreciate her putting that together. We wanted to put our own spin on it. I don't know how often, if at all, the black press has been on MTP, Meet the Press. So we're going to have the black press on MIP, and that's what we do. And exactly. I'm glad that you're here and have the vision for that. A lot going on. Speaking of the black press and, you know, some of the challenges, the black press is no different from any of these other PPP businesses where we are denied the type of help and support we should have. Facebook did something somewhat extraordinary, didn't it?
Yes, it was very extraordinary. This week, Facebook announced that they were granting $1.3 million to about 12 of our member NMPA newspapers across the country. And a lot of that content appears on blackpressusa.com. So from the Los Angeles Sentinel to the Amsterdam News, the Washington Informer, the Houston Forward Times, Houston Defender, Real Times Media, our brother up in Detroit, you know, Hiram James with the Chicago Defender, the Michigan Chronicle, Pittsburgh Courier, and the Atlanta Tribune, as well as the Atlanta Daily World. The Atlanta Voice also got it. So there were a lot of good papers that received it. Some of our smaller papers received $100,000. In St. Petersburg, Florida, the Community Challenger newspaper, very small paper, got $100,000 from Facebook. And the purposes of these grants is to assist these particular newspapers in those markets through COVID-19, help them to innovate, help them to engage in something called digital transformation, digital migration. That means you continue your print, but you add to your print the digital component, the social media components. As you know, Mark, even with Make It Plain, you have to now do it on multiple platforms simultaneously. That is the nature of the media market today. And of course, I think I'm just going to be prophetic that there will be a time that comes that African-American business people, media people, engineers, software developers, we need to put our heads together to think about what it is that we can do, not as an alternative to whatever exists out there, but to me, we are so blessed by God to be so rich in culture, so rich in talent, so rich, and not just on the sports field, but in the entertainment booths. Um, we should be having our own, for example, we should be having our own Grammys. We should be having our own Academy Awards. We should be having our own. I know the Image Awards, NAACP, shout out to them. They do that. But I'm saying we just don't, in my view, salute ourselves enough. I had a good talk with the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson yesterday. Great call. You know, he's suffering from this health malady, but Jesse's spirit is still strong. His vision is still strong. And I just want to transition, Mark, about health. All of us have to take health more seriously. I'm going to say that. Myself, you, all of us. Uh, Health is the eternal wealth. And if you lose your health, even if you got paper stacked up, you're not going to be able to spend it. So I think that we need to focus. If anything, that COVID-19 has challenged Black America, is that we got to take better care of our health. And it's a historical mistake as well as a contemporary mistake to put the health of our community in the slave master's hands. Put the health of our community in the oppressor's hands. How healthy do you think we're going to remain if the health in our community is in the hands of those that have historically oppressed us, exploited us, taken advantage of us, denied us, kill us, maim us, and try to prevent us from having progress? I'll give a shout out to Comrade World, who is the chairman emeritus of the National Black United Front. Comrade, as you know, is one of our colleagues. This is the 25th anniversary of the Million Man March. We wouldn't have had the Million Man March if it hadn't been for strong voices like Comrade World. And I know he has the coronavirus as well as other ailments. And I saw a notice this morning from the National United Black Front offering our prayers. So our prayer on this day, on this Friday, is for the health and restoration of the health of Comrade World, our comrade, our brother in the city of Chicago, who's now struggling, fighting the coronavirus.
Yeah. Prayers up for Conrad, who has definitely been a mentor and a true elder in the African tradition in my life. So, folks, we would ask you to keep Dr. Conrad World in your prayers, a giant in our liberation struggle. And his institutional memory is just vast. Joanne Reed calls him the OG. He's the OG. So God bless him. We want to keep him lifted up in prayers and pray that he overcomes this malady as we've all been praying for. Well, congratulations on Facebook and those contributions, and I hope that it will be helpful. Now more than ever, obviously, we need the black press. We need our own institutions reporting what is going on as this virus is disproportionately affecting us, Dr. Chavis.
Absolutely. I'm so thankful that the NMPA was the first to call a state of emergency for Black people at the end of February, beginning of March. We saw what was happening. And quite frankly, a lot of brothers and sisters weren't taking this seriously. Also, we established a coronavirus task force and resource center. And I'm pleased to announce here on Meet the Black Press that Dr. Regina Benjamin, who is a distinguished former Surgeon General, has now joined the NMPA coronavirus task force, along with Dr. Hilliard, the president of Meharry Medical College, and other distinguished doctors, nurses, public health advocates, research scientists. You know, a sister named Dr. Corbett is the lead researcher developing the vaccine for NIH. Dr. Corbett, a fantastic research scientist. So I think that it is time for us to pool our blessings, to pool our intellect, to pool our training, to pool our knowledge, to pool our experience, and some to pool Black genius. Pooling of Black genius across all platforms.
In that redundant term, Black genius?
Well, I have to say black genius because if I'm a chemist, but I dabble also in physics. If you look at the spectrum of light, it begins in black and then it goes to all the other colors.
All right now, Doc.
So the original genius has to come from the origin, has to come from that which is black. And I have a problem even with the symbolism in 2020. People calling the coronavirus the dark virus. We're going back into the dark age. But what does that mean? So we have to be careful how we use these terminologies. And as you know, Mark, even in one of the things I appreciate about Dr. James Cone, who was a mentor to both me and you, with the Black Theology Project, we have to demystify some of these terms. We have to unpack these terms. And then we have to define for ourselves our own reality. That's why I love the Reverend Dr. Jeremiah Wright. I say it publicly. He was a forerunner. And the reason why Trinity United Church of Christ is so strong today is because of the labor, the self-giving labor of Reverend Dr. Jeremiah Wright. He's our brother. He's my fellow United Church of Christ minister. And I always love to give him a shout out because when you join Trinity Church, you have to say, I'm unapologetically black.
Yeah. Amen. No, that's very important. Ben, is it not enough that we're dying from COVID, that the police got to kill us too? We're going to talk about at least 2 of these cases right now, maybe 3, because there's a brother in Indianapolis.
Yes.
But we're also hearing, folks, about countless cases of near misses. Like they went to the family's house to kill them and was stopped. So down in other cities. So, it's what is this? I mean, we're even dealing with lynchings in the middle.
I think the COVID-19 has put pressure and stress on all of humanity. But what's happening in America is that when these white supremacists start feeling some discomfort, some unease, you saw them with automatic weapons go to the state capitol in Wisconsin and in Michigan with weapons.
Yeah.
Out in the open. Now, a group of black people go to the state capitol with weapons. You know what will happen.
Exactly.
Down in North Carolina, right outside of Wilmington, in a county called Pender County. Wilmington is in New Hanover County. A sister and her son were at home.
Right.
And part of the lynch mob was some deputies in uniform. So the answer to your question, Mark, is that this is not a justification, it's an explanation. When white supremacists feel some stress, they take it out on black people. They take it out on people of color. And you can be walking while black, you can be jogging while black, you can be driving while black, you can be breathing while black. They will come after you and they will try to take your life.
Yeah. We're not safe even being socially distant from others.
In your own home. The sister in Kentucky was shot while she's an MET, emergency worker, a uniform worker, saving people's lives. She goes to her home and gets shot while she's asleep. The police just open fire. And it turns out they had the wrong house. How do you serve a John Doe warrant with bullets, tear gas, armaments, a SWAT team?
Yeah.
It's something not right. And again, these atrocities continue. But as I said at the beginning, Mark, these are also redefining moments for Black America. We have to not only just appeal for justice, appeal for equality, appeal for fairness. We have to band together and organize ourselves where we protect ourselves from the virus, where we protect ourselves from white supremacist violence, where we raise up a generation of young millennial freedom fighters that are fortified with all of the blessings of all the knowledge. I mentioned in the previous question, Mark, what are the learnings from 25 years after the Million Man March. What did we learn that day? And what have we learned over the last 25 years? You know, and I think that could be a whole series for Make It Plain. We've learned so much, we've seen so much, we've witnessed so much. And there was a young state politician out in the audience in 1995. He was a member of Trinity United Church of Christ. Trinity United Church of Christ brought busloads of people to the Million Man March. And that young state politician in the state of Illinois was Barack Obama. Obviously, he was impacted
Yes, sir.
by the Million Man March.
Yes, sir.
Later became a member of the United States Senate. And then historically, in 2008, become the first African American to be president of the United States.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I saying that the Million Man March had something to do with that? I absolutely am saying that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And frankly, it was black men registering to vote that got the alleged first black president, in the words of Toni Morrison, reelected.
That's right.
So, you know, that's why voting and our participation is important.
That's why census this year, the voting, we got to get on it.
And that's why people don't want us counted. They want to in mail ballots so we can risk our lives. So no, that's very, very important. You just gave me an idea, Dr. Chavis, because I think we got to go back and get the mission statement and really have an honest conversation and critique about what we fulfilled and what we didn't from that mission statement.
That's correct.
What we fulfilled for a time and then maybe stopped, what we have yet to fulfill, and what we have continued since then. You inspire me.
And the whole discussion of race, you know, what has happened on the issue of race in America in the last 25 years? You know, the reason why we have Meet the Black Press, because we're not on Meet the Press.
That's right.
I mean, we're very honest. I mean, look, and so we have to work now. You remember in 1995, we had BET. There was no TV One then.
Right.
Now we have a BET, TV One, but now we also have the Black News Channel.
The Black News Channel, yeah.
And I'm very supportive of the Black News Channel, and I hope that
you are.
Both you and I can find ways how to work with them ongoingly, because I think it has tremendous potential, but not just in America, but all over the world. And again, look what happened in 25 years, Mark, if you remember, because you were one of our invaluable, audible MCs on that day, right. October 16, 1995.
Right.
You remember, as we looked out that morning, a lot of brothers and sisters from a lot of brothers, not any sisters mainly, but a lot of brothers brought their flags from their home nations.
That's right.
You remember, it looked like the United Nations out there. I saw some
That's
Ethiopian flags, some Ghana flags, some, South African flags, Jamaican. I mean, it was really a reminder of the diaspora. And of course, the Million Man March had impact in America, but it also had impact all over the world, after the Million Man March.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I know I'm going to change the whole program to that, but I'm just saying that.
No, this is important.
We have these reminders of the importance of the Black press, the importance of having an opportunity to articulate the issues, report the issues, comment on the issues, discern what it is we need to be doing. I think the mainstream press, they've highlighted the fact that we are disproportionately impacted by COVID-19. I give them that credit. But no one has really raised the question except the Black press is, what are we going to do about it? How can we stop the spread? How can we get the best of the genius intellectuals and scientists in our community to weigh in on this, and then working with grassroots organizers, brothers and sisters that are making it happen. I was so pleased to see the Selma March. You and I were in Selma, for Bloody Sunday. And again, we saw this array of diversity even in the Black community. And Mark, I think one group that I want you to talk about, I'm gonna pitch this idea to you. We need to have a program on the Prince Hall Masons.
Mm.
We need to have a program on the Eastern Stars
Mm.
because they were out there by the thousands. Hardly they didn't get much focus in the media.
Yeah.
You remember? And they were
Yeah.
orderly,
Yeah.
they were organized, they were dignified.
Right.
Uh, and of course, if you want to talk about the oldest black organization in America, even before the black church in America, it was the Prince Hall Masons in the 1700s.
Yeah.
If you go to Boston right now, there are only two statues in Boston Common Square. You know what those two statues are? One for George Washington
Right.
and one for Prince Hall.
Prince Hall. That's right. That's right. That's right. And Ben, actually, I had said to some folk informally yesterday, or at least one person, you know, that knowing what the fall is going to be like, we probably should think about going ahead and planning
Planning right now is to be virtual.
a
We can't have
virtual
another
million,
physical Million Man March
yeah,
in October.
have a virtual million man. Now, if we got 2 million physically, imagine what we could get virtually if
Oh man,
everyone
that's right.
would participate.
There are 50 million African Americans.
Right, right.
We should double the size or triple the size of what we did in 1995 virtually.
Yeah. So no, that's important. Folks, be on the lookout for that. Okay, hip hop summit. Andre Harrell, you knew him.
You know him very well. Andre Harrell was one of the icons of the evolution of hip hop culture, from Def Jam Records to Rockefeller Records. He just crossed so many. Sean Combs, you know him as Diddy or P. Diddy, started out as an intern
Right.
with Andre Harrell, as well as with Russell Simmons. So he would be sorely missed. A young brother. He was just 59 years old. And of course, we want to dedicate ourselves to keeping his legacy and his memory alive in all of what we do, not only in the entertainment industry, but he was also a smart entrepreneur. He was a black business leader as well as an entertainment leader. And he helped a lot of artists set their foundation for longevity in the industry. So too young, untimely passing of Andre Harrell.
Yeah.
And he has a son now who's also very talented.
Is that right?
Yes.
So they say it all happens in threes. Betty Wright.
Oh, yes.
Little
the marvelous
Richard.
Betty Wright.
Yeah.
No one had a voice like Betty Wright.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, particularly in D.C., where disco music has such an impact, Betty Wright was the queen of disco.
Yeah, no question about it. And then Little Richard,
Man,
who
the father
I did
of
not know.
rock and roll.
So here is Dr. Chavis. I was not aware that for the past number of years, Little Richard was living in my hometown in Nashville. My relatives knew. I didn't know.
Yes.
Like, why y'all tell me? I would have gone to see Little Richard or had him on the show or said something to him, Oh, yeah, we see him all the time. But God bless his soul. I mean,
Yes.
I mean,
Richard is, it's hard to find a term that would adequately describe his genius, his impact,
yeah,
not only in America, but all over the world.
yeah.
Everybody praised Elvis Presley. There wouldn't have been Elvis Presley without Little Richard.
And he was radical in the sense that, he was the first to publicly educate people about how his music and other artists' music was being stolen. Everybody else was kind of quiet about that because people didn't want to rock the boat, I guess, and they still wanted to have some access to their own masters. But Little Richard started calling out, said, no, I don't have my music, so-and-so don't have their music. That's the thing that really stood out for me long after his career ended. He came out and said, this game ain't right and this game ain't for us. So I always respected him for doing that and definitely a giant. I do want to mention one of the NNPA publishers who passed, Kenneth Edmonds, Carolina Times.
Yes. The publisher of the Carolina Times in Durham, North Carolina. And Kenneth Edmonds was the grandson of Lewis Austin, who was the founding publisher of the Carolina Times in Durham. And I have a close relationship with that family and that paper because Lewis Austin, when I was 12 years old, gave me a pen. I started writing for the Carolina Times when I was in the 6th and 7th grade, and have been writing for the black press ever since, for 60 years. I'm 72 now. So I think that we salute the legacy of Kenneth Edmonds and of the Austin family in Durham, North Carolina. We've got to figure out now how to keep that paper alive, how to keep that paper going. So many of our papers are intergenerational,
Right.
Mark, and we want to make sure that we can replenish the ownership, replenish the editorial, replenish the writers with our millennial brothers and sisters. I've always wanted to just say on this show that there's so many opportunities right now today in the black press. So if any young people are listening to this program, go to blackpressusa.com or go to nmpa.org. You can see a list of all of the African American newspapers listed there in every state. We have now 230 members. We're growing.
Mm-hmm.
Ebony.com recently this year became a member of the NMPA.
Mm-hmm.
So in fact, Mark, I won't make it plain to become a member of the NMPA. A broadcast entity now can also join the NMPA.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Consider it done. Consider it done. All right, folks. We appreciate all of you joining us today. We Dr. Chavis and I are making an effort to pick this back up and to do it every Friday.
Absolutely.
So we invite you to be right here with us as we do so. Go to blackpressusa.com. While you're out here looking at everything else, be sure to go to blackpressusa.com as well and be informed about what's taking place in your own community as an African American. So again, the president of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, blackpressusa.com, is Reverend Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis, Jr., Executive Director of the Million Man March, member of the Wilmington 10, former president of the NAACP, former head of the Racial Justice Commission of the United Church of Christ, and many, many other things. And we appreciate his long-standing contribution to our struggle. Ben prayed on our prayer call this week. You know, you all can see that prayer call every morning at 8:10 Eastern, right here. Wherever you're watching this now, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, you can see that prayer call. And Ben talked about our faith and talked about the Black Christ and prayed for nervous Negroes. That time is over. I'll leave with this, Ben. You remember this. One of the long-standing emeriti pioneers, he's gone on to glory now in the black press, the Washington Informer's Dr. Calvin W. Rolark. And he used to always say, no one is going to save us, for us, but us. That was his mantra.
Yes.
And so we need to be informed within our own media. We need to be supporting the black press so that we are aware of what is going on. And we need to talk about building our own platform. So that's next. Y'all stay tuned for that. Dr. Chavis, as always, we thank you, sir. If it's Friday,
it is Meet the Black Press. Thank you and God bless.
God bless you too, brother.